the world, and we are right here on this incredible beach. And today I wanted to do a bit of a different sensual talk where I will be talking for another little while. Today there's no one to really interview because this is an amazing time to really reconnect with a sensual identity for me. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this experience, and even though it is not 7 o'clock Eastern time, I thought that this would be a good opportunity to just give myself a little bit of time to just actually connect to my viewers, to my followers who have been following me, and to really talk about this experience of connecting to your sensual identity through a physical, geographical place and the importance of it. So something very interesting has happened to me in my lifetime, and the fact that for some reason I have always been connected to this geographical place, which happens to be Marseille, France. So there is something about the water, there is something about the language, there is something about the culture, there is something about history that some of us just really connect to. And the reason why it is very important for our sensual identity to have that place is because we really can go to that place in order to reclaim our connection to pleasure, our connection to sensuality, our connection to the things that make us really happy. So the geographical place really doesn't have to be somewhere where you have to travel, and unfortunately for me, this place is Marseille in France, and it's something that I do not live in France. I do live in Toronto, Canada, and it is my home. However, every single time I come to this place, I feel so connected to myself. I feel so connected to my roots, my ancestry, my sensual history, my educational history, my emotional history. And the reason why it is important to find that place, because you will always go to that place and find that connection to your pleasure. And as I said, it actually doesn't have to be the place, somewhere else where you would go on a vacation. It really can be the comfort of your home. Maybe it is your bedroom, maybe it is your parents' home, where you feel like your most sensual self connected to what is really going on inside of you. And it is so important to connect to that because I think it really makes you happy in every single day life, and it just brings you that joie de vivre. And it's especially important, I think, for women to have that place, because as women, we have so many responsibilities that really take us away from our sensuality and from our sensual pleasure. And that is very true for men as well, but men's nature is not as sensual as women's. So it is very important to find that sensual place that grounds you. And it really might be, and think of the place that reminds you of certain things. Maybe it's a certain scent that you associate with pleasure. Maybe it's a certain meal that you associate with pleasure. Maybe it is, a person that you associate with pleasure that no longer, maybe it's some sort of a nostalgic feeling that somehow brings you back to your real, raw sensuality. So it's really important. And it took me a while to understand why I'm so connected to Marseille, and I think one of the reasons why I'm so connected to this place is because it is a port city, and it's abundant in seafood, and there are a lot of fishermen around, and there are a lot of people who are so connected to the marine living and marine lifestyle. And I actually grew up by the water, and my grandfather was a fisherman, so I think that maybe that's one of the reasons why I so much connect to this city. I connect to the language. I've always loved French culture, and the way I actually rediscovered this specific geographical place of Marseille was actually through the love of French culture, because I've always loved, one of my favorite singers is Patrick Fiori, who actually is native to Marseille and has produced some of the most incredible pieces in the musical history here in France. And that's when I realized that, this is something that I gotta dig into. And that's when I kind of started to dig into the culture of Marseille, and I realized that was something that I really connected with, other than the fact that there is that whole marine culture. But maybe for you it's a forest, maybe for you it's it's your own kitchen, because really our sensuality is so fluid, our sensuality is so diverse, and all of us have very different sensual identities that we have to nurture, that we have to cultivate, that we have to really protect and understand. And really that's when our happiness starts to build, based on our sensual identity, based on what gives us pleasure. So, and really finding that place that you can go to every single time can just reconnect you once we get disconnected. And we get disconnected constantly because of our busy schedules, because of our daytime jobs, because of our really so many things that simply kind of take us away from our real raw self and sensuality. So it's really something important. And I also wanted to talk about the fact that it is so important to explore different places, because sometimes, as I said, our sensual identity is very different. It is very fluid, and the truth is, what turns you on today does not necessarily have to be the same thing that turns you on maybe 2 years ago or maybe yesterday. So you have to be curious about what gives you that sensual satisfaction, what turns you on, what entices you. And I think that through travel, through experience of different foods, through ability to just disconnect from your everyday chores and everyday activities, and being able to really kind of tune in into yourself and figuring it out what gives you that sensual enticement. And I think that travel is just the most amazing place to do that, because it gives you that opportunity. And for the past couple of days, I have been so fortunate to travel through France, and France is the place where I feel very much connected to myself and my wishes and my desires. And I think that I go back home after and this has been a part-time solo travel for me. Really gives me an opportunity to actually go home in a much more happy, in a much more connected place, where I will be able to reconnect with my child and with my family and with my friends and with my work, and with really even a creative process that I do on daily basis, because my job is very creative. So it's something that I think every person should do and experience. And I always speak about solo travel, because solo travel really forces you to kind of only take care of your needs and not worry about anybody else's, which is sensuality right there, because you really listen to your body, to what your body wants, and you don't really work around anyone else's schedules. And I actually really intensively talk about this in my latest book, The World's Most Sensual Woman, and how you can become one too. So if you haven't picked up your copy, please do. If you want to explore the subject of this present physical sensuality and how you can reconnect with it, and how the rituals that you can really cultivate in order to reconnect with your sensuality. So I'm really excited to bring this sensual talk live just past 7 o'clock right here, Marseille time, from my absolute favorite place in the world, the beach in Marseille, la plage de Calanque. Fantastic place. So I hope that if you're just joining us now, you can actually go back to the beginning of the video and to really watch kind of the process of how you can, the importance of connecting your sensuality to the physical place. And I'm so excited to be bringing this live to you from my most sensual place in the world, the place that really connects me to my sensual identity, which is really truly priceless. I want to thank you very much for joining me this evening. Of course, next week everything is going to go back to normal. I'm going back to Toronto, and we're going to have Sensual Talk Live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But I'm glad that you will be able to join me today. I know that there will be thousands of people who will be joining me for this video in the next probably 24 hours. For the time being that the video will stay on. And I really hope that this will inspire you to take a solo trip of your own. It will inspire you to find your own sensual physical place in this earth. May it be your very own bedroom, your very own kitchen, maybe a park next to you, or this incredible perfect beach like Marseille, France. will really inspire you to begin a sensual journey of your own. So I thank you very much for joining me. I'm sending you kisses and love from Marseille, France. I'm actually going to go and have some bouillabaisse now, and really looking forward to hearing about your sensual adventures in the world and realm of sensuality. Thank you for joining me. I'm Emanuela Fernandes. We'll see you next week on Sensual Talk.